Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium live here on YouTube and Twitch. It's so good to see everyone. My name is Emily. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am part of our content team here at the aquarium, and I'm really excited this afternoon. We are going to be joined, or we aren't going to be joined. We are joined. Words are hard. They pay me for my words. We are joined by two of my good friends, my colleagues, my coworkers, my pals from across the bay over at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, or MBARI. Those are our research and technology partners here at the aquarium. I've got Dr. Kakani Katija with us this afternoon, and then we've got Lily Carlson over here on the far side.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you guys?
Amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's been a busy week.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's been a busy 18 months, really.
To be honest.
To be honest.
Let's be real.
It's
No, but we're
busy.
just so excited that we're finally at the stage where we can share this project.
Yeah. So for those of you tuning in right now who aren't familiar, you might see this word FathomVerse all across our screens and the titles and everything. FathomVerse is a game that we've been working on for a while. It's a new mobile game, and it launched yesterday. So it's been out in the App Store for a grand total of like 24 hours, maybe a little bit more than, maybe like 30 hours at this point. But we are so excited to share it with you all, especially because it's a really unique, it's a really cool game. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that is here in just a second. But I just wanted to take a second to say hello to everyone joining us in the chat. I know that we have like some parents who might be joining us right
Hi,
now
Mom.
in the chat.
My mom is here too, I think.
Yeah, Mom. We've got some familiar fronds in our chats as well over there on YouTube and Twitch. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We are going to be playing FathomVerse today. We have our iPad all set up finally. That was our technical difficulties that we were having, is the iPad did not want to connect to our streaming software.
I know.
Something always goes wrong in one of our streams. You all know this. So we're going to be playing that, and we're going to be playing it fresh. We haven't downloaded 5 minutes ago to an iPad, so we're going to be playing the game from the very beginning with all of you this afternoon. But Kakani, would you mind telling us a little bit about FathomVerse first?
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned, this is a game that we've been working on for almost 2 years now. And with the intention of, inviting everyone to join us in, our goal, our mission to explore and discover all life in the ocean. And, there's nowadays, we have all of this data that's available to us, and we really wanted to create a way that people can not only participate, but also be able to enjoy that process and learn along with us as we researchers are doing this work.
Yeah, this is definitely a community science game. As I knock my mic, I'm so excited about it. I'm going to knock my microphone.
We love community science so
We
much.
love it. It's so good. But this game really is inviting you into the scientific process, really. The idea that spawned this game, though, is because of the incredible amount of footage that is being recorded all the time by MBARI, by scientists around the world as they're out there exploring the ocean, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the big challenge. Like, if, for instance, there's estimates that suggest we may have only explored the ocean like about 1% of it if we think about it in terms of getting a human eye on it or an image. And with that lack of exploration has meant that we, actually don't know that many animals. In fact, there's anywhere from 30 to 60% of life that's in the ocean that's completely unknown to science. And so trying to fill these gaps is incredibly important. So if we fill those gaps, we would probably use imaging to do it. But then you're collecting all of this information so very quickly. How do you process it? How do you glean information from it? And so that's where the game steps
the game
in.
comes in. MBARI has a video lab that has gone through their footage that they've recorded for the last 35 years. I think it's something like 10 million annotations that they've made. So annotations are when they're watching this footage back after a dive, and they are manually going in and identifying the animals, the environment, different things that they find on these dives, and they're doing all of that by themselves.
Yeah.
Which is 10 million is an insane number when you think about it.
It is.
So yeah, that's
right, and that's MBARI's experience, and this is an old stat, and it's something I'm hoping we can update soon. But U.S. based exploration institutions. So MBARI is one of them, but there's also NOAA, there's also Ocean Exploration Trust, or Nautilus. Like all of these groups are collecting lots and lots of data, and the estimates were about 300,000 hours of footage. But we're probably only getting enough information about, actually like extracting that information, about 10 to 15% of it. Wow. So data that already exists that we could be learning from, and then also we know we're going to be collecting more and more data in the future.
Yeah, and it's a great historical record of the ocean too, because like I said, like MBARI has been recording this for 35 years.
Yeah.
Other institutions have been also recording this for a very long time, and so you have this historical record, which as we're talking about things like climate change, as our ocean is just changing before our eyes in our lifetimes. This is a great way to see how humans are affecting the ocean, how it's changing, how we can help the ocean too. So, yeah, I've been talking a lot about the game itself. We haven't even looked at the game yet. So, we've got also joining us this afternoon, we've got Helen and Krista, who are over here off to the side. So if you see me staring deeply into their eyes through a screen, that's who I'm looking at over there. They're doing a great job running the stream right now. Would you mind pulling up the view of the game itself? Maybe. Yeah. I heard clicks. I will take that as an affirmative. So they're going to pull up the game right there so you can see what it is we're talking about. You will also be very happy, Kakani, the background that I
love
chose.
It.
Yeah.
Snot palaces are my thing.
Yeah. I had Solmissus up there at first, and I was just like, nah, it's gotta be the giant larvation. Gotta have a snot palace on board for our background this afternoon.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's been a couple years now, in the middle of the pandemic, when I would come on and I was talking about giant larvations and their snot palaces. And then it was actually right around this time where, I was sitting in my living room and looking out one of the front windows and seeing some random person I'd never seen before wandering around the neighborhood with their phone, looking completely lost. And I started to realize that I would see them more and more consistently through the pandemic, and they were playing Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go was something like, oh my gosh, if we could somehow create this excitement and wonder and interest around ocean life instead of looking for fake animals, maybe we could be doing something.
The real ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you guys, at the time, you were also doing live streams and playing games. And I was like, oh, all these things are going to come together, and I think it could work. And so fast forward to now, we have a game.
Yeah.
So
3 years later.
You want me to
FathomVerse, yeah.
Walk through?
Let's excuse it. I'm so sorry, Celestina. Yes, your oddish is very real to you in your heart, and I believe that fully. Let's dive in here. So, what are we looking at right now?
Well, so this is the hub screen for FathomVerse. When you enter the game, this is your very first interaction. Think of this as like your control panel. Where do you go to, make decisions or choose activities that you want to do? But first, I actually want to pull up the settings, because one of the things that we've been able to do, and thank you to the Monterey Bay Aquarium as well, is create different soundtracks that, match your particular vibe. Because, some of us like lo-fi hip-hop, some of us don't, but I wanted to highlight it because it at least gives you some, flexibility and customization around the game experience. So the first soundtrack is FathomVerse. The second one is a hydrophone soundtrack, and so this is actually hydrophone data that's been collected by researchers at MBARI in the Monterey Bay using one of our deep sea hydrophones. And so it's a collection of recordings from that hydrophone that can be listened to.
There's things like whale sounds. You can hear dolphins clicking. It's probably my favorite channel because it's very relaxing to me, and also quite odd. It caught my dog's attention a lot. He kept looking up at me, being like, "What is that chirping?"
We've done some live streams of the hydrophone in the past on the aquarium's YouTube channel, because the hydrophone that MBARI has is, you can go onto MBARI's website right now and listen to the hydrophone that is out there in the bay. It is out there right now recording and broadcasting that sound to us. It's on like a 10-minute delay or so, but if you're listening and you hear something, if you hear like a humpback whale singing out there, like, that is happening in the bay right now, which is, it's so cool. It's my favorite thing. During the wintertime when we have the humpback whales singing out there, I have it on all the time.
See, there you go. And so unfortunately it's not live in the game, but at least you can get some of the highlights. The next one is the Deep Sea Aquarium channel. So if any of you have been to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, in particular the Into the Deep or En lo Profundo exhibit, there you might hear something very similar. And so we actually have that soundtrack from that exhibit that is accessible on the game. That is actually my favorite soundtrack to listen to, but as an option. And then last but not least, Lo-Fi Tides, one of our team members, Emily Clark, spent a lot of time trying to pick some sounds that would fit this kind of genre of music. Feel free to take a look and try it out, but I'm going to keep this one on because I think it's chill and I can talk over it and go from there. So that is the settings. But now I want to talk to you about some of the content that we have in the game. So the idea of this game is, you are a community scientist, right? And you have the option to go on missions. These are specific missions that might involve looking for particular animals that you're interested in, or animals that you're certified in. And so where you get a sense of what those animals are is in the library. So if you open up the library, your library shows all animals currently in the FathomVerse. And then here you have a lot of different options. The first screen is a jelly screen, because I'm kind of a jelly person, surprisingly. And then what you'll see is these tiers. So below jelly, you're going to see these siphonophores and comb jelly options, and then in the following tier, that's going to be a calicophorant siphonophore and a burrowed comb jelly. So the idea is that you would start at the top tier jelly, get trained or certified to look for that animal, and then once you do that, then it unlocks these other missions that you could then open and play. And so, jellies are an example. There's also pyrosomes.
And that way, as you get more comfortable, you can get more confident as you can go to more complex animals. So some of the animals that are more difficult to identify are at the lower or higher tiers. I'm not sure which one to call it.
Deeper tiers.
Deeper. That's good.
Yeah. And so we have a collection of about 44 animal groups right now, and these were selected specifically because they kind of represent the types of animals that we at MBARI normally see when we go on these remotely operated vehicle dives. But don't get us wrong, like, we have a list of, I think, up to 60 different animal groups that we could be incorporating into the game, but we don't quite have the data yet to do that. But so stay tuned, because the idea is that this game is extensible. It can grow over time with, either more animal missions or more, data interactions or mini games, or, even the data that we're sharing with game players. So
how difficult was it for you to not make the larvation the first one?
So hard. You know me.
I know.
It's the last one, but I promise you will not be, disappointed if you actually get to that point.
You have to work for the larvation.
You do.
Yeah.
Larvation deserves that of you.
Yeah. And this is the real reason why Kakani has maxed out all of the levels, is so that she could get to the.
It is true.
To the larvation.
It is true.
It's the reward at the end of the. Yeah.
It's like my goal of my career. So when you do open up these animal missions, though, you get to see some really cool content. I just opened up the jellies one, and you'll see right away, those different scientific names that are included within the jelly group. And then the other thing that we have created specifically for this game are these beautiful icons / diagrams that show particular features that are used to distinguish between these different animal groups. And so this was a big effort with a number of our members of our team. And you'll see these icons used multiple times throughout the game to kind of remind you of the animal groups and the active missions. Anything else I forget? No?
Although we did have an interesting comment there by Jeeves Bunny. Do you think there's ever going to be a category for like non-animal things? Like, because I know that MBARI, they track every time that they see trash and other things in the deep sea.
Yeah, I mean, there is no reason why that can't happen. In fact, the I would say that the database that is seeding a lot of the images that you see in the game is called FathomNet. You can check it out at fathomnet.org. But basically there, it's all sorts of objects, both living and inanimate. And the idea there is, if you want to be able to create artificial intelligence or models that allow you to identify things underwater, you need all of that information, not just the animals.
Yeah.
Great question or comment.
Yeah. I see a couple of other comments on YouTube. I want you to know that I have seen them, and I want to answer them, but I think they'll go along with once we get into the gameplay. That will have
probably
some answers for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for all of your questions. But please send in those questions.
Yeah, we'll try.
We're staring at a big screen filled with the chat right now.
Well, I'm glad you're paying attention to that because I cannot follow it. So then the other thing that we've got are this amazing collection of images that show examples of these animals that are in this group, but also animals that you might be confused by, right? Mm-hmm. There's lots of instances where that can happen. And so to start out with the game and the content, all of these images come from MBARI, like our deep sea guide or our video annotation and reference system. So you'll see giant phantom jelly, deep sea crown jelly, red disc jelly, helmet jelly, silky jelly, solmissus, one of my favorites. And then also you'll see confusing lookalikes. So we'll give you example images of what those might be, and also a description of like why you might be confused by them. And so we have this information for 44 different groups already in the game,
which is a lot. Shout out to the people who put that together. Yeah. That was a lot of work to write all of that content, organize it in a way that is easily digestible. Y'all, it takes a lot of people and a very long time to make a game. Do you know who knows that? Game devs know that. Do you know who doesn't know that?
Us. We didn't know this going into it.
Yeah. That was actually a question that one of our Blue Sky followers had yesterday when we posted about it, was that they were doing the training. Mm-hmm. They saw an animal. They tagged it as a jelly. It was a comb jelly.
Yeah.
And so it was marked as incorrect there. And I think that, as we play it, we can kind of talk about how you have that, like, upper level, you have the jellies, and then comb jellies are in their own separate category there. So it's kind of nice to, like, look at that library first and see all those different categories.
Yeah, see all the different categories, because the categories aren't meant to be overlapping. So, jelly, there we're really talking about kind of the classic Medusa jelly, like the Scyphozoans, etc. And so that's where you'll want to pay attention to the scientific names. But yeah, keep that in mind. Right now, the animal groups aren't overlapping, so it's not like we're saying jellies is the umbrella term, and then you have different types of jelly animals underneath it. It's a separate category right now.
Yeah.
So that is the library.
That's the library.
Do we want to jump into a dive?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay, so the way this game is made, remember we've got the animal library, we've got the different content that you can look at. But when you start your dives, you start looking at real data, you do this in the training mode first. And the reason behind this is we want to give you an opportunity to, look at lots and lots of imagery that match or potentially match the animal group that you're looking for. And we want to make sure that you're looking at really high quality images as well, right? And so that's what you are seeing in the training mode. And if you open up the app, the very first time, you're going to see these little circles. And what those are like placeholders for animal missions that you can open up and start playing. So when you start at the very beginning, you start with just one animal mission slot that you can then fill depending on what animal group you want to start with. So this is where you click on that, and then you get a little onboarding message that tells you how you do this, where you will select an animal to train. And remember what I said earlier about how this information is tiered. So it's only the missions that are in the top tier that are available to you when you start out at the beginning. So I'm gonna pick jellies as my first mission. Remember I showed you the content already. And so then what I'm gonna do is hit select. And now that animal has been added to my active missions. You'll also see this kind of the white circle. It says 0 out of 3. So in order for you to be certified in a particular animal mission, you need to do at least 3 dives in training. So
let's
dive.
dive.
We
in.
ready?
Let's dive. Let's go.
Dive!
Woo!
Oh my gosh.
We're going for it.
All right.
We did get a question that came in late. What's the name of this game? This is FathomVerse. We are playing FathomVerse, all one word. You can download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store right now. It just came out yesterday. I also saw a question, are we planning to launch the game on Steam as well? I know right now it's just the App Store and not Steam.
That is TBD.
TBD. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
We don't know enough about the whole process, to be honest, to answer that question yet. But right now we're starting with Google Play and the Apple App Store, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the dive. This particular mini game is called Pulse. And the reason why it's called Pulse is because that's what you do in order to reveal the animals that you want to be looking at. So as you'll notice really quickly, right, that this avatar thing, you jokingly thought it looked like a jellyfish who swallowed paper.
Yeah. I may still think that.
I know.
It's growing on me.
I'm very open to our fans naming the avatars, so let me know if you have any good ideas for what it should be called.
But whatever that thing is, it's really kind of a representation of you in this game. And as you are moving around in this mini game, you're actually on these currents, and you have the option to change currents and switch currents, and also move around more quickly. So to reveal images, you want to tap, and then it will send a pulse, and then that will reveal a particular image. Yeah,
you'll see kind of these brighter floating dots kind of swirling around you, and that's usually an indicator that you have an animal to reveal nearby.
Right. And then when you do reveal a particular animal, you can click on that image and you can look at it on this screen, and then here's where you decide, is this an animal I want to collect, or is this an animal I just kind of want to avoid and move on? And so there's a number of reasons why you might want to collect things. Of course, whether or not an image matches or an animal matches one of your active animal missions. But the other thing that's awesome is that you can...
my favorite part.
Favorite an image, right? This is something I think we were all really excited about. We're collectors.
If you don't think that I have like 50 shrimp saved in my folder.
That does not surprise me. I love that. Yeah, and so you can collect images or animals for whatever reason you want. And so in this case, you might not know what this image is. This is any guesses?
Ooh, guesses from the
In the
chat.
chat.
Is it a jelly or is it just gelatinous? Well, they're on a delay, so we're going to be staring for a long time.
So I'm going to collect regardless.
We're gonna collect regardless. We'll see what the decision is.
Yeah, and I'm ignoring the prompts because I'm going to try and explain it. So to move more quickly or just speed boost, you can hit this button in the center, or you can also swipe up. And to change direction, you'll see an arrow that pops up, and you can select that. I know what this is. I think
that's a jelly.
Well done.
Well done. We do have some guesses in the chat for the last animal. Lots of pyrosomes.
Well done, everybody.
Good job,
so,
everyone.
Another great thing is while you're swimming and drifting along these currents, and if you reveal an animal and inspect it and you're not sure if it matches your animal, you can double check. You can go back and look at your mission briefing.
You can look at your active missions.
Yeah, I don't know if you could quite see what Kakani did right there, but it was at the very top. She just pressed the little jelly icon.
The icon.
Ta-da!
Yeah, so it makes it easy for you to go back and forth with, content to help you identify things and the actual content.
What's that?
This looks like a very fancy urchin.
It's like, wow.
I have no idea.
That's my kind of urchin. It's very goth, hardcore, just regal.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it
favorite
in I'm gonna favorite that
This
later.
is on my iPad. Wait, I can start a new collection.
You can. I know. I love that we're using that.
I'm seeing that someone thinks it's a Formosoma urchin.
Ooh.
Well done. I have no clue, so I'm happy to accept that as the ID.
I'm looking here because we did have a question.
Sorry, I'm like a completionist, so I kind of want to find everything.
The same way. I have to reveal all of the animals every single dive. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one thing that we really, as you can see, Kakani only needs to use one finger while she's playing. That was a really big priority for us while we were designing the game, that you can essentially, it can be one-handed play. So if you were using a smaller device like your phone, you can just be holding it with one hand and maybe even cooking, drinking coffee, opening the door while you're playing.
Not driving. Don't play and drive.
Please don't.
Because there were people who did that playing Pokemon Go.
Also, don't walk around outside with it while playing, please.
But you could sit outside
sit
and
outside.
play with it.
Yeah,
I think.
It's some outside time.
All right, I'm getting near to opening everything.
I think.
Oh.
And the way she knows that she's opened everything is that there's this progress bar at the top. You'll see that it's completely full.
Those 4 little dots.
There's 4 little dots at the top. So then to leave, once I can leave. Actually, I don't think you can leave unless you've at least revealed 25% of the images. But once you do, you can then also, hi Yost, Dr. Yeast. You can exit the dive, and then this is where you start getting points. And we call them CP, or contribution points. You get points for the number of animals that you reveal in a dive. You get extra points if you reveal all of them. And then you also get points based on how you identify the different animal images that you've collected. And that's in the next phase. So this phase is called labeling, and this is where we ask people to assign the names of the animal group to the particular image that they're looking at. And it's actually a really straightforward way or UI that you can use. But because we have only one active mission, we have 2 options for labeling. We can either label an image as a jelly, or we can label it as none of these, which actually means not a jelly in this case. And that's a valuable annotation that we use then in the data set behind FathomVerse. Yeah. So I think everybody said that this was a pyrosome, so clearly that means it's not a jelly. So in this case, we would use none of these and move on to the next image. Jelly. jelly, right? I think that's pretty straightforward. Here's another beautiful jelly. And we wanted to favorite
Yeah, we
this,
wanted to
right?
favorite that. It's a little hard up in the corner.
That little heart up in the corner, and then we'll...
That friend's coming home with me.
You're coming home with me.
And then none of these, because it's not a jelly. And we know that this is a pyrosome. And...
That might need a favorite and a label. That's pretty beautiful.
This jelly?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what's so great about this is you can... The thing about favoriting it, that means you can go back to these images later and take a look and share them. And that's, I think, really an important part of this process.
Yeah.
So do we want to take any questions about that, or do we want to
keep going? I did see a question before. If there are two animals in an image, what do you do in that case?
So we're still trying to kind of tweak the way data are being displayed. So one of the things that we're trying to do in those instances is add a bounding box, or like a little box that indicates which animal in that image we want you to be labeling. And so we're not necessarily doing that all of the time. But that's something that we're very aware of when we're trying.
Images actually popped up.
It probably does. Yeah. You'll see the bounding box definitely emerge when the animal of interest is not centered in the image. But so these are things that we are working on constantly to try and improve the data visualization, so it's easier for game players to understand what animals it is we're interested in having labels for.
Because obviously you don't have animals that are isolated out there in the ocean that are going to be grouped together, even colonial animals working together. So make sure that we're identifying the right one, because that also helps to train the AI correctly. You don't want to be putting a label on an image and you're like, well, there is a jelly in here, but my gosh, there's also a crab. I don't know.
There's layers and layers to this, and that's an important piece.
Another important question that came in, do you need to have an internet connection while you're playing?
You do. I mean, so for us, when we were trying to build this game, accessibility was incredibly important. But we couldn't build the app in the way we wanted without requiring an internet connection. Because basically, every time you open up a dive, you are actually pulling data from our data servers and then displaying it on your device. So we're hoping in the future we might be able to move towards an app that doesn't require an internet connection, but at least these initial phases for FathomVerse, it does rely on internet.
Yeah, because all this data has to come back to us.
Yeah, as well.
We send it out to you and it has to come back, so that because all of this is training that model that other researchers are going to be able to use to look at their own images to help them identify animals.
Yeah. And I'm noticing a lot of some questions coming up about the data and how are we using the data. So let me start by at least explaining what you're seeing in this next screen, and how we're getting this information. Yeah. But did you have anything you wanted to add to? No. Okay. So this is the dive. This is the dive discovery screen. This is where you get feedback from the FathomVerse community once you complete a dive. But I want to point out that this is instant feedback, and the reason why we're able to give you instant feedback is that a lot of the images that you've looked at, in some cases, are existing data that's already been labeled by experts. So that's that data that comes from the FathomNet database, which I talked about a little bit earlier. And so the idea is that if we sprinkle that labeled data, that expertly labeled data within a dive, game players are interacting with that data as well as unlabeled data, so data people haven't even looked at before. And so we can see how well game players are identifying things that we know. So right away we could say if you got something right.
That also helps as a training tool so that you can get this instant feedback. So part of it is us being able to see how you are performing as a player, and also so that you can see your own progress and learn from mistakes, see what you're getting right.
Yeah, and the feedback you get is whether or not your labels match the label that is currently in the database. Or maybe you didn't match it and you were different. So that would say, you would then have that incorrect. And then there's also this other bit of feedback in terms of animals that have been missed. So, as you're floating around in currents, you're revealing animals, sometimes you'll come across an image and not collect it, right? And so that is actually a really important, performance indicator for gameplay as well. And so that's where you'll see this, you missed these animals. And so that all of those that information is given to the game player right away, and then you also have the option to flag something if you think something is wrong. So, for instance, us experts, we're not going to always be right. It's very possible that FathomNet might have an issue in the database or whatever, or consensus isn't correct. And so the idea here is game players have the opportunity to flag an image or flag something that they disagree with or think is wrong. And so we can look at all of those flags on our database side to evaluate and apply that to our other data sets.
Yeah. I think another important piece of the puzzle, Lily, is actually if you see something, you identify something, if you have a question, you can also go to the FathomVerse Discord. You can talk to Lily.
You can
directly.
talk to me over on the Discord.
At Lily over on the Discord server.
Literally.
You can.
There's also a great community of people over there who you can chat about. Oh my gosh, I saw this awesome animal, or like I'm not quite sure why this one was labeled wrong. And have those conversations with people over there. Yeah.
Exactly. And we make it really easy. So in the bottom left corner of that hub screen is a link or a button to go to our Discord community or Discord server and jump in. And it's already really interesting to see conversations happening in the Discord, people trying to ID things, and we're just excited to see it happen.
Yeah. It's a really wonderful community of all the different types of people who are interested in FathomVerse, and I really encourage you all to join. It's a great place to send funky screenshots or your favorites. If you get a really cool collection in your gallery, you can share that there.
Ooh, another question, can you set up separate profiles for different members of the family in one device?
Sadly, no. That isn't something we're able to do quite yet.
Yeah, but if you have, say, like a phone and a tablet, even if they have like a shared account, so like I have FathomVerse on my phone and on my tablet, same Apple ID there, but even though I've played the game a whole bunch on my phone, I haven't played it on my iPad, so that's why we're starting out new here, versus if I go to my phone. So if you have that set up,
multiple devices,
like each one of those devices, even if it shares like the same device ID, then there's a weird way of saying that.
In the game, not right now. We don't have that capability.
No.
One fun thing I've liked doing, though, is a lot to like what we're doing now, is I've been screen mirroring my phone onto the TV, and my friends and I play, and they kind of yell out what they think it is while I'm the one driving. And it's
community
really fun.
play. People love watching it. I love it.
Yeah, just don't hand it to your toddler. They'll ruin your score. Yeah. Or who knows?
Who knows? You might discover some genius.
Gautam's child apparently was super into identifying they're fairly young.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Maybe do hand it to your toddler.
Hand it to
I take back what
whoever.
I said.
Yeah, hand it to whoever. But yeah, so what do you want me to show next? So that was the Pulse training run, and let me get through it really quickly because I think
so.
I have to add another one.
Yeah, you have to.
And then select, and then dive.
So after your first dive, you'll see that a second circle pops up, and that's your opportunity to click that and choose a second mission. So you'll build up in your first 3 dives, you'll build up to have 3 missions at a time, and then from there on, you'll be able to be searching for 3 different types of animals every dive.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do this quickly, but I don't. It's this game. You can't necessarily skip levels. Well, we had a cheat, but it's no longer available now on the game.
We'll just hold the iPad up to the camera.
Exactly. So pyrosome, I think. Another pyrosome. Because what I want to do is I want to actually show you what happens when you do get certified.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a fun moment of celebration, but that it also means once. Oh, and I missed 2 animals, so it's because I didn't open up all of the animals and took a look.
You're ruining my score.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's your score.
It's okay. My phone will carry me through. It's fine.
Okay. I love it. And I'll just do one more so you all can see.
Well, you happens. Do, that one, Lee, I don't know if you saw, there was a suggestion in the chat there that our little avatar friend looks kind of like one of the origami fortune tellers.
Oh!
I wonder if there's like a pun off of origami, that we could
That's
that we
an
could
interesting idea or thought. It's like a fishtail.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
The game design studio that we work with is based out in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and they all speak Dutch, and so I thought that they had nicknamed the avatar, but I did in the file names. I didn't quite realize that they were just using the Dutch word for vehicle.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, that's such a fun nickname, vehicle. But they had, so that's what I think of. That's what I have been calling the avatar in my head.
I love it. So continue.
We actually had a really great time after beta testing. We were able to go visit the game design studio and ranch in Rotterdam.
And Emily was with us.
They let me come. I was only there for puns.
It was a very important part.
It was a very important role.
Very important part. So I just finished 3 dives with jellies as an active mission for training, and training is complete.
Animal certified.
3 out of 3 dives for jelly, and so what that means is once you get certified in training, you can start looking for that animal in expeditions, which means you're going to start looking at data and imagery that nobody's looked at before.
Which is.
I think it's exciting.
Cool.
I think it's
so
exciting.
Cool that we're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Kakani was saying, in training, you'll be seeing more labeled images, and then once you get into expedition mode, that's when you really get to see more images that potentially very few people have ever seen. You might be the first person to look at an image.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you're probably wondering, well, why would I want to do all this?
Why would I want to do all this, Kakani?
Why would I want to do all this? And there's many reasons. There's scientific reasons, which I can get into in a little more detail a little bit later. But we also actually spent a lot of time thinking about awards. Like, how do we award people for their contributions?
Yeah.
Right? I think a lot of community science projects, they just put data out, hope people will come and process it in some way, and then nothing, crickets, no other interaction. And so what was really important to us was to create a mechanism for people to get awards, use those contribution points to unlock certain content that you can't find anywhere else.
Exclusive
Content. And so you can take a look at that, actually. If you'll notice that level. Yeah. If you click that level, what this is your player progression. This shows you where you are, where you can go, and also what are some of the awards and stuff that you can unlock and take a look at. So everybody starts as a beachcomber, and then over time you work your way up to eventually becoming a denizen of the deep, which I love.
Yeah, I also love that the progression is you go down to get to the higher levels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you also notice how it gets darker the deeper you go? It's these small things that we're really excited about.
You're traversing the fathoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you fathom it?
We're diving into the FathomVerse.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so as you earn CP, you then unlock either new levels or new content. And do you want to say something about the content? Because I will show you how you get to that content is in the vault.
So in the vault, that's where you can find, right now we're starting with just with video content, and there's 2 types of videos. Actually, potentially 3.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of different types of videos. So one of them is called Deep Dives, and that's a video series that Kakani and I worked together on, and it really explains some of the concepts behind FathomVerse. You can see that the first one that's unlocked for everyone is why are we making a video game? Kind of explains the background of why we set out on this super ambitious journey. And then there's also animal videos, and those animal videos share everything from fun facts, really beautiful imagery that MBARI has shared with us, and some of them are longer form, some of them are shorter form. There's one called Deep Breaths that's kind of meditation videos that encourage you to just breathe and watch a really beautiful jellyfish float. And in Deep Dives, in that series, we set out to explain some of the common questions that came up in beta testing that we started to hear from the players, like how exactly am I training AI in this game? And we hope to also continue the series and expand it. So as more questions come up, as we notice common questions, we'll try to answer them in that series.
Yeah, a big important thing to recognize is, right, the way we built this game is for it to be extensible and expandable. And so not only is that true with the data that's in there or the animal missions that you're looking at, but also the content, the award content. So while right now we might be focused on videos, we might eventually turn to really beautiful images or live streams like this one, whatever. Like, there's so many options and opportunities for us to connect and make meaningful connections between, us, the research teams, as well as the players of FathomVerse.
And we hope that they're juicy enough rewards to keep you coming back.
Yeah.
To keep you wanting to keep playing and unlock them.
Yeah. I don't think I should play them.
We had some great talent from MBARI help us with that. Emily Clark worked on making and producing all of those videos, and also has already scouted a few MBARians to help do the voiceovers. Larry and Bruce, thank you so much. You are absolute superstars. We hope to include more voices moving forward. Emily?
Hi. I just got 2 very intense looks right now. I'll do
Maybe.
You have a lovely voice.
You do.
I'll put on my NPR voice for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And so that was the vault.
Yeah, and I see Giovanna is in the chat.
Yeah,
Shout out to Giovanna.
And so Yost is there.
Giovanna worked so hard on all of the content in the animal library.
Yeah.
And did an incredible job.
GG's for Giovanna in the chat, please.
Yeah.
And then remember I mentioned favorites before. So after you during your labeling interaction, if you like something or, hit that heart, you can go back and take a look at them, and you can organize them by either time that you've added them to your collection or, by the label. But we could reopen that urchin photo. You could take a look at it.
It's so cool.
Isn't it stunning? I think it's stunning.
It's so neat.
Stunning.
But it also provides an opportunity to share. Like, if you want to share this image with your friends or your family or, in the Discord, like, what is this thing? Do it. That's what we really want. We want people to talk about these animals in the ocean, learn more about it, right? Spread the wonder that we think these animals have.
Yeah. I think that this game gives you an opportunity. Like, I just think about, when I was a kid, I was in Arizona. There wasn't an ocean anywhere nearby.
Right.
And I would have been all about this game because I would have felt like I was an ocean scientist and, doing my dives every day and checking it out. So I think it's a great way for people to kind of stay connected to the ocean, even if they aren't as fortunate as us to have it
really
a stone's
close by.
throw outside. Yeah,
exactly. And then I don't, how much more time do we have? Because I do want to, there's
5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I want to tell you there's one more important feature that I think is important to highlight. And when you see this on the hub screen, it's not activated right now, but there's a button there that says My New Discoveries. So remember, right, because there's a mix of labeled data and unlabeled data in each dive. From the labeled data, you get feedback right away saying how well, you might have done and like where might there be some areas for improvement. What happens though for the unlabeled data, so the data that nobody's really looked at before and you're providing new labels, what happens is the whole community, creates those labels, and then we have a consensus, an algorithm that's running on the back end of the game that basically is saying, taking all of these votes that game players have about a particular image, and then come up with a consensus label. And so that consensus label is what is then used to evaluate how well you did, and then is shown to you in your My New Discoveries. So over time, right, as these images reach consensus, thanks to the contributions of the game players at FathomVerse, we'll then be able to let you know how we all did. And I think what's really, really incredibly powerful about this is it's not just providing feedback to game players. Those consensus labels that the games is creating gets pushed back to the FathomNet database, that database that experts are using to, observe and understand ocean life. Like, we are literally all working together to create this data set that represents all the life that lives in the ocean. So it's really, for me anyways, really, really exciting to be able to see all of these things come together. And then you, as a game player, get to see it in real time as well. Yeah. So, any other questions?
Yeah, if you have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat for us. We have a couple more minutes. I did see a question way earlier, so I hope that they are still tuning in. But we had someone asking, how do they get your jobs?
I ask myself that almost every day, you guys. How would you answer that?
Oh, wow. I would say keep following your interests. I, in school, just kept working on projects and talking to my friends about projects they were working on. That led me into finding this whole field called environmental communication and science communication, and figured out that was my passion, and scientific communication about the ocean is my passion. And so I was able to discover this whole career field that I didn't know about. And since then, I've just continued to talk with my friends, and reach out to people, stalk people online.
Stalking people online is a very important part of this.
Yes, stalking, which I did to Kakani, and then I saw a job opening and, put my everything into it.
And you have. We have been I'm so proud of this team. I mean, everybody that's worked on this. I mean, Emily, you've helped. Other people at the aquarium involved in education has been involved. We've got Anne Ranch, Internet of Elephants, Genevieve Patterson, who's a human AI researcher, interactions researcher. MBARI, gosh, we have a massive team at MBARI that's been involved in this. We're just so excited
and so many
to share.
Incredible partners who have helped just with outreach. It's been amazing to see all of the huge support online starting yesterday.
And I need to say this before we run out of time. So right now the game contains about 100,000 images. About 10,000 of those are completely unlabeled, nobody's looked at before. It's also imagery, though, that's coming from a lot of different places. So not just MBARI, but we've got data contributions from Schmidt Ocean Institute, NOAA's Office of Exploration and Research. Ocean Networks Canada has also contributed data. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some. I think Nautilus is going to be contributing data soon. So the idea is that we can all be, helping the entire exploration community, address this challenge of processing their visual data.
Which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kakani, you got into this field. We stole you from outer space.
You did.
Yeah.
We pulled her down.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm an engineer at MBARI, but my background's in aerospace engineering. And, you know, it's really interesting because, and maybe that's too, for me, at least the inspiration for this game, right? Like the fact that NASA, there's so much money that's poured into ocean or space exploration, right? Around this idea of finding life elsewhere. And there is so much life we don't know about in our oceans. And so I'm really excited that we're really leaning into that and inviting everybody to join us. So
be part of the ocean PR team with us.
Join us.
Join us. The ocean, just as cool as outer space. Tia.
It's right there.
Love it.
All right. Just looking at the chat right now. Lots of love. Lots of love for the game in there. Lots of excitement. Well, if you want to download FathomVerse, like I said earlier, it is in the Google Play Store. It's
for
in
free.
The Apple App Store for free. Or you can go to FathomVerse.game and it will take you to those places too.
Yep.
FathomVerse.game also will tell you more about it. If you want to know more about how the game was created, there is a story up on the aquarium's website right now.
Written by Emily.
You might might have a familiar author of that story there that you can go and read and check out. And it features both of these two wonderful human beings in the story there.
And Emily.
And me. You can guess which quote in it is mine. It's very easy. So you can check that out. You can head on over to FathomVerse. You are on, I know, Instagram and TikTok.
We're on Instagram and TikTok, and then also Discord.
So Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. You can follow them there. Of course, follow MBARI across their social medias as well. Follow us across our social media. I figure if
you should be already.
You probably already are if you're here watching this right now. So less of a push for us. But if you haven't subscribed, what's the I'm doing a bad job as an influencer.
Subscribe.
Ring that bell.
Turn on notifications. Smash the like.
Smash that like button.
I don't know what's happening.
And please, if you're playing FathomVerse, tag us. I'd love to tag us on Instagram and TikTok. And if you're on other platforms, please use the hashtag FathomVerse so I can see all of your little conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, give us a review.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we really need as many five-star reviews
preferably
in the app stores as possible. So please, whenever you have time, also known as right now, go into the app store and leave a nice review. We'd really appreciate it, and that will help us get the app shared with more people.
Yeah. Let us see those favorites that you have. Let us know what level. Let us know if you reach a denizen of the deep. And yeah.
Oh, we might even have a
competition.
Competition?
With like an award.
Ooh.
And a physical, a real life reward.
Oh, that's the fastest way to get me to participate in anything.
Do the people like pins?
Give me a goal. Ooh, do the people like pins? Like an enamel pin?
Or stickers.
Ooh.
I don't know. Maybe.
Ooh.
Let me know.
Oh.
At me. Tell me.
It makes it even more threatening with the mola behind you.
People notice.
Amazing. Well, before we go, can everyone give a huge, speaking of thank yous, thank you to Kakani and to Lily for joining us this afternoon, for coming all the way out to the aquarium to play FathomVerse with us. Woo!
Yay!
And for making this incredible game. There has been so much work and love and sweat and tears and you name it that have been poured into this game. So huge shout out to you two for an amazing thing that we're so excited to share with everyone, and to everyone who worked on this game. You should be really, really proud of yourselves. And a shout out to all of you for joining us this afternoon, for having those amazing questions for us in the chat there, for downloading the game, for playing. I saw people are already leaving reviews. Thank you so much. We are gonna head off here in just a second. Before we go, also please give a shout out to Helen and Krista.
What?
They were both so worried about running the stream, and they did a great job. Krista,
Not done yet.
I'm not done yet.
She just ends click.
I believe in you.
And thank you, Emily.
Yes.
Thank you for hosting us here today, and also you have been an incredible collaborator throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
I'm bad at accepting compliments.
You taught me how to do user tests, and you have been incredible.
We went through the user testing
Yeah.
trenches together.
And you're a really great houseboat mate, I just want to say.
We stayed on a houseboat together. We had some romantic bike rides.
That's true.
And
Some not so romantic bike rides.
and you've been your
There's
house.
a whole story there that's not going to fit into this.
We need to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got to find the carrying my wayward son.
Yeah.
The song parody that we
And-
wrote on the boat.
Oh my
Yeah.
Thanks to Emily, we have so many more ideas that are just waiting that
Yeah.
we haven't even been able to implement that might come
Yeah.
into the game later.
It will
We need
happen.
to
It will happen.
This is
It will happen.
It will happen.
it's all in progress, and we love all your feedback so that we can continue to improve the game.
Yeah. With that, I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in this afternoon. I hope that you had a good time, and we will see you again soon here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Bye!